Hello, welcome to Vlogmas today, Sunday the 10th of December 2017. In tonight's Vlogmas, my Advent star reveal is going to be one of my most favourite cars in the world. I absolutely desire to have this car, and even if I'm 60 or 70 years old, I would still buy this car if I'd never owned one, and I'd buy it as a classic. To me, this is one of the most recognised and most famous cars in the world. It's a car that everyone would have heard of, it's a car that everyone could point out, but it's also a type of car that could quietly go past and you wouldn't even notice it. Tonight, I am revealing to you, not quite in the flesh, but the Nissan GT-R. The Nissan GT-R broke all sorts of records back in 2007. This two-door 2+2 absolutely smashed records and performance figures. At the time, the car was around £58,000 and it was absolutely destroying performance cars of twice that value. To this day in 2017, the rest of the world has caught up and the performance figures of the Nissan GT-R are still absolutely outstanding, but other marques have already trumped this famous car. Now everyone likes to talk about 0 to 60 times, everybody's an expert on 0 to 60 times, but unless you've actually driven one of these vehicles, it's so easy to roll off the tongue, 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds or 3.5 seconds. We all use it as a benchmark to gauge different performance cars against each other. But that is mind-boggling performance. You really have to be in one of these vehicles to experience it. And a lot of misconceptions about the Nissan GT-R. The latest models 0 to 60 in 2.7 or 2.8 seconds can only be achieved from using launch mode. Launch mode can only be used 3 to 4 times consecutively before you actually have to drive absolutely normally to cool the car down. Not only that, launch mode is putting massive stresses on the clutches and transmissions, and although Nissan obviously have made this car to do it, if you're under the misunderstanding that you can be doing launches every single day of the life of the car, please be prepared for some hefty bills, because like brakes or other wear and tear components on the car, you are going to wear those clutches out. And the Nissan GT-R is a very sophisticated car. This is a 4-wheel drive twin turbo 3.8 litre double overhead cam V6. Back at the time of launch, it only had 478 brake horsepower and 430 foot-pound of torque. And when I say only, that was still pretty astounding amount of power. And for a 1700 kilogram car, the way this gets around the track and off the line is pretty mind-blowing, to be honest. In 2010 we saw an upgrade to the power. We moved up to 545 horsepower with 463 foot-pounds of torque. This brought it in line to, or nearer to in line to, a lot of the other models like the Audi R8 V10 for example. And then we had the Nissan GT-R Nismo, the pinnacle of the GT-R series, pushing out 591 brake horsepower and 481 foot-pound of torque. This is the fastest special edition GT-R that money can buy. But coming in at £125,000, not many people are going to be owning one of those. And these days, a Nissan GTR is not going to see you shy of change of £90,000. Again, not many people are really going to be owning one of these. Not especially on a day-to-day 25k a year job. Not unless you're saving all your money to buy the car. And that's the thing with the Nissan GTR. Back many moons ago, I was an absolute fan of the Mitsubishi Evolution and the Subaru Impreza, and I pined for a Mitsubishi Evo. But to be honest, the Nissan GTR came along and it raised that bar massively above those cars. The performance of this car is a night and day difference to, say, an Evo 10. Evo 10s are quick, but the phenomenal power of this vehicle is unbelievable. The Nissan GTR is also one of the most tuned cars known to man. Crazy figures can be pushed from tuning the engine up. And what I'm going to do, if I just take this off, we'll get a bonnet shot. Some of the Nissan GTRs have been tuned way over 12 or 1500 horsepower. You can go onto YouTube. If you search R35 GTR, Nissan GTR, there are hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of videos. This must be one of the most popular cars on the internet and YouTube to find a video for. Every car you can ever think of has been raced against this car. In my opinion, everyone says you're not a petrol head unless you've owned an Alfa. I think we should make the internet push and break a new barrier and say you're not a petrol head unless you've owned a Nissan GTR. One of the great misconceptions of the Nissan GTR is also that this is a dull, lifeless, boring performance car. People like to reel this stuff off because they've heard people in magazines and people on the YouTube say this. But again, if you've ever driven one of these vehicles, and I have on quite a few occasions now, you will quickly learn that this isn't the computer-controlled PlayStation gizmo that you think it is. My very first ever drive in a Nissan GTR was on a track that was pouring down with rain. And the first time I went anywhere near the throttle coming out the corner, I got the car at nearly 45 degrees. I immediately steered into the skid, came off the power, and before the electronic brain had even thought about doing anything, I controlled the car before it did. And that immediately brought to my attention that even though this car's got all that computer gadgetry and gizmos, it's still a beast and it's still going to get you into trouble. The instructor I was with actually said to me if I kept my foot to the floor and the foot down, the car would have straightened itself out. But to be honest, I had no trust in the car whatsoever. First time driving it, I had no confidence in it. And that's certainly something I wouldn't think to do, was to floor it to get it out of trouble. These cars on the public road are heavy cars, and like I said, if you exit an island booting it hard on the throttle, you're most likely going to get the car going the wrong way around and also smacking into the curb. Everyone thinks the Nissan GTR is such a computer-controlled system. It would over-complement your driving and save you in every situation. And that's not true. And that's probably why so many of these vehicles have been crashed on the public roads, because for all its systems, its all-wheel drive, its torque vectoring, it's still not going to get you out of trouble if you do something stupid. This is one of my most favourite cars in the world, and I think it should be a petrolhead's dream car, every petrolhead's dream car. So this was Vlogmas on Sunday the 10th December 2017. Thank you for watching tonight, and please tune again in tomorrow for the next one, where I'll be doing another reveal.